Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Just stay working tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay? Okay. I better see if I make this work, right? Got it. Okay. I am not a Navy custodian, but I got here as soon as I could. I've been here since 1950 when I got out of the service in Tampa, Florida. And anyway, you see my background. I was born in a pharmacy business. My dad was a pharmacist, and I learned business from the ground up, stoking the coal in a furnace when I was 6, and then finally became a soldier, and then a clerk, and then I went to pharmacy school. But that wasn't enough for me, and one of my professors said, you can count past 100, I think you ought to do something else. I said, well, I'm interested in dentistry. He said, well, I'll write you a good report, what you get. So that's how I got to dental school, and being from East St. Louis, Illinois, I got in-state tuition. I don't know if I should tell you how much my tuition was, but it was $500 a year. When I got to dental school, it was $400 a year. When I got to graduate school, I was out of state, and it cost me $1,800 a year. And I got a 3% student loan, paid off $1,800 over 10 years. So those were the good old days. So what I want to tell you about today is I'm basically 85 and a half. I'm in good shape. I do everything I got to stay healthy. And I just want to impress upon you that that's the way to do it. There I am on the end over there, and I was about in my mid-30s at that time. And I'm with Jazz Medics. I started in '74, and we quit after COVID in March 2020. And July of that year, I did renew my lease where I was practicing because of COVID, and it was almost up anyway. So since I taught at the dental school, I found one of my good graduate students from the 90s, and I've been with her now for about almost 4 years. So I don't have to do any administrative work. I just do my dentistry, and I don't get any patients from her. I said I have my own patients. And so let's go a little further now. And Channel 11 recorded us one day. And what I have here is what they recorded of us. So I want to only a couple minutes to tell you a little history about the band.
Well, they've been playing gigs around Houston for quite some time, but this isn't your average touring band.
Yeah, not even close. They're called the Jazz Medics, co-founded back in the 1960s by the famous heart surgeon Denton Cooley. Josh Chapin checks them out.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is rehearsal. Something the Jazz Medics do every Wednesday night. At 7 Acres Jewish Care Center in Meyerland. Tonight they're whipping through standards, all the way by Sammy Kahn, A String of Pearls by Glenn Miller, and Don't Get Around Anymore by Duke Ellington.
We have lost members, we're regaining members, we're up and we're down.
Their members for the most part have been in medicine, going back to its founder, Denton Cooley. Originally they called themselves the Heartstrings because most of the doctors were cardiologists and played string instruments. They pivoted to the Heartbeats, recording an album under that name, before moving to the Jazz Medics name in 1974 to reflect the professional diversity.
I think a lot of doctors, a lot of healthcare professionals are attracted to music because the core of music is mathematical.
Sid Schwartz has been in the band since the 1980s.
And I have to ask, what is the average age of the band?
Oh, I never have tabulated. I'm at risk.
Richard Waghalter,
When did you pick up the saxophone?
Just 2 minutes ago.
at least 30 years. He's a periodontist.
I was still doing dentistry. You know, they say, should he retire? I said, we gotta work first. I enjoy what I'm doing, so I don't consider it work.
The era of the 30s, 40s, 50s, it's really dying off. I mean, we play nursing homes where people don't even recognize those songs.
A band now trying to keep an era alive, one heartbeat at a time.
Where does the Jazzmatics come from?
Charismatics means we doctor the music.
Boy, that's cool.
Love that sound. I love jazz music, so
Yes.
that is right up
And
my
big band,
alley.
I
Oh
really
my
enjoy that.
goodness.
Hey, if you want to get rid of your beer belly in time for summer, check this out. See Dr. Drew.
It's not part of my presentation. So now, I'm just gonna show you, we're playing a band job at the Czech Hall in the Heights. Slow standards. I was brought up with old standards. My mother was a jazz pianist, by the way. And they say sometimes, you know, you learn a lot of stuff when you're in the womb. And I truly believe it because I can jam in any key, but don't ask me what the key is. I just learned it from my mother. I knew how it should be. So I can transpose, but don't ask me what key I'm in. So anyway, here's our presentation. We did a band job of, yes indeed, a medley of different
MLE pure acetone is an effective solvent used in the production of
Okay, let me say one thing. If you have an iPhone with you, if you want to record what I'm telling you, feel free to do it. You get on a voice memo and just play the whole thing, because basically, I want to tell you the difference. We're not talking about music and dentistry, music and anything else. But we have a lot in common. It seems like people that enjoy music, playing music, they have good math skills. You don't have to be an Einstein, but you're better than most people. And because we work with our hands and you work with your hand-eye coordination, so that's a good reason to go into dentistry or medicine or engineering or whatever you want to go into. We're creative. We play solos, we write music. In dentistry, be creative. We do dental appliances and filling and all this kind of stuff. And we have to make up treatment plans. That's like writing music. We're graphically oriented, we're 3D oriented. If you can't do 3D, you can't really see how to do things in the mouth. And jazz musicians are people pleasers, and anybody should be a people pleaser. Otherwise, nobody's going to appreciate what you do if you're not a people pleaser. I'm not advancing here. Do I point it that way?
Sorry, go ahead.
Can we get it to advance? It's not.
Yes, sir, go ahead, there you go.
I'm pushing.
Uh-oh.
Okay. And here's the main thing I want you to know. I have played with a lot of musicians throughout my lifetime, from high school on. And my 50 years or more here in Houston, I've played with some guys that studied under Conrad Johnson, and they're terrific musicians. One guy was teaching me saxophone lessons. He taught me things I never knew about. It's just terrific. Conrad Johnson has a great reputation in Houston and around the world. All the musicians that he's treated, or taught rather. I'm talking like a dentist. But I want you to know that most people don't make a living making music. 1 in a million make it big. So I'm going to assume that most of us aren't going to make it big, but we enjoy music. And you can always tell which dentist are musicians, because if you're in their office and you hear the music selection they're playing, it's usually pretty neat. But they appreciate that. But the thing is, if you want to live well, you got to be able to provide for yourself, for your family, for your retirement, and so forth. And that's what you have to do in planning your life. Music is great because it relaxes you, it relaxes other people, it's great. It raises you endorphins, it cuts down on pain. It's been shown, and even in the dental office, you play music, people don't have as much discomfort because it relaxes them. So as I said here, music is for your enjoyment and pleasure. That's why I enjoy doing it. And only the few can make a living in music and show business. So I want to encourage you, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But just remember, everybody doesn't make it. I know one guy that he was in a band with me, and he had some dental problems, and I took care of dental problems. It turns out he was living in his car. So I took him into my house because he had to recuperate from what I did for him. And he stayed with me for almost a year. Got back on his feet. But that's an unfortunate thing, and the guy's a fantastic musician, and he's the one who told me all the different things on sax I didn't know anything about. Let's see if we can advance this a little further. Weird. Oh, back one. I saw that in the newspaper, and it says, why all the old magazines? Because I want to be a dentist someday. Well, if you go to a dentist office, you notice a lot of them have old magazines in their waiting room. And that's the story of dentistry. We're savers, we're hoarders. We help you save your teeth. Matter of fact, I got some old models I've taken on patients. I still got them from 50 years ago. One time, a dentist called me 25 years afterwards, said, do you have any models on this patient I'm seeing now? I said, I think I do. So it comes in handy sometimes, but don't become a hoarder. Next. This is the main thing I want to tell you on that basis. In my 85 years of living, I want to tell you things that really help. You've got to provide for yourself and for your family, for your health, for your retirement, everything in life. And the first thing is eating. You got to eat right. For some crazy reason, when I was a junior in pharmacy school, I took myself off of excess salt. I can tell you, I have never had high blood pressure. I have, when I was in graduate school, I weighed 210 and I came down with diabetes. I took off 45 pounds and went back to normal. So by regulating your diet, you can reverse type 2 diabetes. When my wife passed away in 2011, I went back up to 205 and I had another case of diabetes. I took off the weight, I went back down, took me about a year, and my A1C is 5.4, which is well within the normal range. I was up to 6.5 to 7. So you can, a lot of people eat junk food, processed foods are not good for you. I try to stay away from ice cream. It spikes my sugar up a lot. But there are things you can do and eat well. Like for when I only eat 2 meals a day now, and in the morning I'll have some protein and 2 eggs and avocados because they're high in structures that help you take care of your diabetes or your sugar level, and you it's more evenly digested from your stomach, so forth and so on. So it's important to have a good diet. The other thing that helps with diabetes or anything is exercising. And the least you can do is walk 30 minutes a day. That keeps down your sugar level. But there's another thing that's interesting about walking. Believe it or not, we have 3 hearts. We've got this one here, we've got one here, and we've got one here. So every time you walk, your muscles are pushing the blood back to the heart, so it's less strain on your heart. So for people who sit all day long, the heart has to do more work because nothing's helping bring the blood back up to the heart. I make it an effort that every hour I get up and walk around for 5 minutes. That's good enough to keep things going. You don't have to be a weightlifter, you don't have to run a 4-minute mile, nothing like that. The main thing is at least walk, and when you walk, walk fast. Don't linger. And that will keep you healthy. Nobody has to have a big bay window at my age, which I don't have because I got rid of it. So exercising is very important. It helps in a lot of ways. I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of stuff, but I just want to tell you how important it is. The other thing I can tell you about disease in people, whatever you come down with, it probably started 20 years before. particularly when it comes to dementia, people who are young people that have problems, if they're overweight or eat too much sugar, or if they have some mental problems, it usually shows up 20 years before it actually shows up as a clinical case that you have to be concerned about. That holds for any disease process. So what you do when you're a youngster, if you can keep those good habits, you're going to live a good, healthy life. Knowledge, what knowledge means, go to school. I don't care if it's university, vocation, trade school, whatever it is. The more you know, the more you can do for other people. And you should choose something that gives you a purpose in life. Because a purpose in life, particularly when you're older and you're not working anymore, to have a purpose in life really sustains people. Now, relaxation helps too, because remember the earth was built in 6 days, and God rested on the 7th day. And that's good, because relaxation keeps your blood pressure down, your sugar levels down, you're more relaxed, you're not as uptight. Another thing to be considered about relaxation is, if you take a deep breath, you're exciting your cortisol level, you're sympathetic. When you let it out slowly, you're initiating the parasympathetic, which relaxes you. So if you're really uptight about something, do what we call the fractional relaxation technique. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. You'll notice how you start feeling relaxed. And then you can relax your shoulders, and then your stomach, then your legs, and your feet, your hands. And that's one way to break out of it. The other thing is, if you're uptight about something, think about something else, because the mind can only think about one thing at a time. So if you're uptight about something, think about something good, like the last time you played your music, or what you liked about being with your family, or whatever. All these things are good. Of course, being a people person, it's in line with the golden rule. Do unto others as you have them do unto yourself. So if you treat people the way you want to be treated, you'll be known as a good person, and more people will like you and want to be around you. Don't hold a grudge. If somebody does something bad or really makes you upset, I didn't learn this right away, but I learned that if you get upset, by the end of the day, just consider that I'm done with that, I'm going back to normal, because when you're upset about someone, it doesn't affect them, it affects you. It brings your cortisol levels up, it gives you high blood pressure, it gives you heart problems, lung problems. The other thing I didn't put in here, and I should have, is dentistry. We know now that the bacteria in the gums that cause tartar on your teeth, when you have bleeding gums, you pump those bacteria in your bloodstream, and it'll give you plaque in your arteries, and that'll give you higher blood pressure. It also can help cause dementia, kidney problems, lung problems. A lot of these can be treated with antibiotics, but you have to know what you're treating, and you have to go to the dentist regularly to keep that under control, or at least brush and floss every day. I have some people, maybe I haven't seen them in 2 years, but as long as they brush and flossed every day, they had no increase of any problems dentally. The other thing is family. We all want to have a family and see the kids grow up. I'm fortunate, I've got a great grandbaby, 1.5 years old. I just found out last week that My granddaughter is having her second one in January, so the family is growing, and I'll feel really good about it. And the other thing is, have a job that pays you well. And remember, you got to save for retirement too. And music, avocation. I've done a lot of that. One time, we played for different organizations, women organizations. My daughter, who sings, she was a singer, and I played the piano to back her up, and we do duets. And that was a lot of fun. But those are the main things that I found that helped me in life. Exercise, eating, good education, learn how to relax, don't hold a grudge, be a people person. Then of course, save for your retirement, and that means you gotta budget your money. But that's not hard to do if you do it right. Can we go to the next slide? So, I'm not going to tell you much about dentistry, but I've had some guys I've had to treat that are fellow musicians that had dental problems. And anybody has to use their mouth to play their instrument needs teeth that don't move. In other words, healthy teeth. If you put it against your front teeth and they move back on you, or they hurt when you press your mouthpiece against your teeth, that's not going to help you in your playing. It's hard to hold a mouthpiece when your lower and upper front teeth move around because it hurts because you're pushing them out of space. Same thing with a trumpet player. If he's holding the mouthpiece in and his teeth keep moving back, he can't hold it regularly. That's a problem. So give me the next slide. All right, so the main problem I find with the musicians that use their mouth to play, these are different things that they have that make teeth loose. If you have gum disease, that means you've lost bone and holds the tooth in the jaw. So you have a longer vector and the teeth move and that hurts. So one thing we do is some bite adjustment. We'll treat the gums so they don't bleed anymore by scaling them. Just the bite. Sometimes, like if somebody's a class 3, that big lower jaw, if you open the bite and reconstruct them so the lower front teeth are behind the upper front teeth instead of the way they were, they'll automatically tighten up on their own. Sometimes the teeth all splayed out, you gotta do orthodontics to bring them back in. Sometimes you can have a healthy tooth periodontally, but it's loose because it doesn't have enough support. Doesn't mean you take it out, but you can join it, splint it to a tooth that doesn't move, then you can keep the tooth. Now, if you're missing front teeth, we can either put a bridge in that's hooked to teeth, or if you can't afford a bridge, we put a partial denture that does the same thing. I had a friend in high school that played the clarinet, but his 2 lower incisors were his baby teeth. So what he did, he put a chamois over the teeth to make the occlusal level even so he could play his clarinet. Well, the way we do it today is we put crowns in those teeth, or put some composites and build them up. Another big problem is loose dentures, where if you're going to have to hold on to something to blow or put a reed instrument in your mouth, when you've got a bite on it, you dislodge your dentures. So you have to do something, and how we do that, we give them dental implants. In other words, you put some structures in the bone that stick out, the denture snaps onto it, so it's sturdy and you can eat better, nothing moves around. It's been shown that people who have implants have a 95% chewing efficiency as natural teeth compared to 10% if you have loose dentures. And if you have loose dentures, you're going to have a lousy diet because you're going to eat carbohydrates because you can't really chew anything else. So let's do the next one. This is the guy who taught me the stuff I didn't know about saxophone. He came in one day and he held a mouthpiece so tight, he actually abraded the top of his mouthpiece. You can see his teeth indentation in it. So when I made him new teeth, I had to make sure they fit that mouthpiece. But here's the situation. He's kind of big, good, the lower teeth are in front of the upper teeth. You see this over here, okay? So when you bite together, this is what happens. So it's very uncomfortable. So what we had to do, we had to make him a class 1 where he had his upper teeth in front of the lower teeth. So we opened his bite a little bit and put crowns on his teeth. And now you can see he has a normal type of bite here. And anytime he bit together, he guided off his front teeth instead of his back teeth were getting loose because he got it off his back teeth. So it took us about 3 months to get him all done. Let's go to another slide. This is an idea of what we call overdentures. If you want to have dentures that slip around the mouth and you want to tighten them up, you put dental implants in the bone, and then they have attachments on them that attach to the bottom of the denture and hold it in place. Some were made that you don't take them out, some made that they have little snaps on them and you just take them out, clean everything, and put it back in again. But the whole idea is to wear them even when you sleep. That way you keep the bone healthy by putting pressures on the bone. Let's go to the next slide. Here's an idea. This is a patient of mine. She lost all her teeth and she had all kinds of trouble. So we put implants in on the upper and on the lower. This one down here we made a bar, it had clips on it. So she could take it in and out, clean it, put it back in again. Same thing on the upper. We had these little attachments here and a clip up there and up there. So that's the underside, and then here's the upper side. Now what's interesting in here is the roof of the mouth is not covered. When you have regular dentures, you have to have plastic over the whole roof of the mouth to create a suction to make the denture stay in place. Well, what does that do? It makes it hard to eat, basically, because you can't taste as well because you have a lot of taste buds in the roof of your mouth. You have trouble chewing, and as a result of not knowing how you're chewing well, a lot of times what people do, they'll like to eat a piece of steak or chicken or whatever, and they don't realize they didn't chew it enough, and they try to swallow, it goes down the wrong way, and they start choking. You've seen in restaurants have these signs about the Heimlich maneuver. The number one person who's going to have a problem is somebody with a full denture that covers the roof of their mouth. So by putting implants in, we don't have to have that suction retention. We got a mechanical retention, and then they can taste the food better, they can chew better because it's more efficient. And so this is how she looked. That's how she was before. Next. Okay. Can we play this one?
Yes, sir.
Oops. It's got to go down there. This is a patient I had full dentures with implants.
I have been wanting to do this for quite some time. Now that I have some good teeth that Dr. Waghalter put in my mouth, I can enjoy this apple. Watch this. I could eat an apple. Thank you, doctor.
It's interesting when you bite something. What you really do when you bite into something, you bite with your upper and your lower teeth, and then you move your arm, your hand like this, because you've had it in your mouth, and it's really, you're biting up with your lower teeth into the apple, and you move your hand and it breaks it off, and now you can chew it. So when you eat something, you're really using your teeth. You're using your lower teeth more than your upper teeth. So that's basically what my lecture is all about, how you can have a good life, you can still enjoy music. If you know what it is you can do to have a good life, not have to live out of your car at the worst. And that's my motto, we fix you smile, so you have something to smile about. So I want to thank you for inviting me here, and anybody have any questions about anything? Okey doke. Thank you very much.